Let's go ahead and go through a workflow where we can take some spline text and turn it into a 3D object that has a nice bevel, as you see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just start from the beginning. I'll go ahead and delete this object. And I'm going to go, of course, to our freehand spline area and choose the text. I'll hit S on my keyboard to get everything centered nice and neat so we can see everything. First thing, of course, we see is the basic text that's in place. We have the text object in our objects manager, and we also have some attributes we can change straight away. The most important things, of course, are the font and the style. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to just name this awesome so I know what it is. And when you do this, hit the tab key on your keyboard, and it will change your text to reflect what you just typed there. This differs from the name in the objects manager. So this will be the name of whatever it is you're creating as far as the word itself or a sentence if you want to create a sentence. If you want to reflect that up here, you can do the same thing. Just double click up here, type the word awesome, or call it logo or whatever you need to so that you know what object this actually is. So this is the awesome logo and the text is awesome. Now let's go ahead and talk about how we can change the font. Of course, we have this font list, and the first time you click to change the font, you might get a slight delay because it has to load the fonts from your system. Now don't be alarmed if you don't see the fonts that I have because I have a trillion fonts on my computer. So I can choose what I want and I get a nice preview as to what that font might look like in this list here. So I'll go ahead and choose, let's say here, we'll choose Black Oak. I'll hit S again so I can see everything. And this is the preview of what we're going to have. Keep in mind that this won't render as it is. So if I go ahead and hit render, we have nothing to really catch that light. I'll go ahead and select my text once again. I can also change the style if applicable. When you choose the word regular, you might be expecting to see italics in here or bold. Now, every font is not going to have a style. So what I could do is choose something that I know for sure has that. For example, Arial might do that. And when I click on the word regular now, you see that I have bold, bold italic, and we can see that taking place inside of our viewport here. If I want to change the text, just make sure it's highlighted. And I can go ahead and add an exclamation mark. And once again, hit tab, and then it shows up in our viewport. You can change the height of the text, which simply means how high it is inside of our viewport. So I go ahead and scroll, and I can make it larger or smaller. The horizontal spacing will change the spacing in between the characters themselves. So I can make them very compressed or further apart. And if I have more than one sentence, I'll go ahead and just put another sentence in here. Awesome, awesomer. Tab. Then I can go ahead and go to the horizontal spacing and vertical spacing. Vertical spacing will give me the ability to bring these sentences together. And once again, the horizontal spacing will separate the letters. For now, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the extra word. Hit tab again to accept. If I want to, I can choose the plane that the letters are going to be on. For example, currently they're facing us in the X and Y axis. In other words, floor and up. But I can have them face along the Z axis by choosing that here. And I can also choose to have the letters on the floor facing up. So let's go ahead and choose that. So we have the X axis and the Z axis, near and far, just in case you want your words to be on the ground plane when you want to swing the camera around. I'll go ahead and put that back at the top list here. You also have the ability to change the angle. The angle, think of it as the smoothness of our letters. So let me go ahead and zoom in so you can see this, particularly on the O here. I'll take this angle slider, and when I scroll up with my mouse, you see that it gets blockier. And I can scroll down to get that nice and smooth again. Now something really cool, which I talked about just for 1 second, is kerning. Now kerning, of course, is the spacing between the actual letters themselves, like the M and the E, whereas the vertical spacing and the horizontal spacing are pretty much uniform. They move everything the same distance. So if I want full control, let's say, for example, I want to make the A very close to the W, I'll go ahead and turn on kerning. And now I get this new interface that pops up here. I can click on the top of this A here, this little one here, and move the whole sentence. I can grab the W, and I can move the A and W closer together and bring the rest of the sentence along. And slowly but surely, change the spacing to make it look the way I want. All right? So you can have a lot of control over getting the logo or the letters perfect. All right? So now that we've talked about this, let's go ahead and continue in the next lesson and talk about some more functionalities. For example, how we can now combine our text with an extrude operation to get a really nice depth and also a nice bevel onto our letters.